South LGA. According to him, the attack followed an early warning of planned raids on villages in Gial and neighboring settlements. The Plateau State Police Public Relations Officer Alabo Alfred also confirmed the incident. The latest attack highlights the ongoing security challenges in Plateau State, where several communities have recently experienced violent attacks. Governor Caleb Mutfwang had reiterated that his government, alongside security agencies, is determined to end these nefarious activities and insisted it is time for perpetrators to renounce violence and embrace peace. Meanwhile, the Department of State Services (DSS) has issued a security alert warning of imminent terrorist attacks in parts of Ondo and Kogi State by the Islamic State of West Africa Province (ISWAP). In a confidential memo dated October 20, 2025, addressed to the brigade commander of the 32 Artillery Brigade, Owena Cantonment, Akure, the DSS disclosed that credible intelligence confirmed that insurgents were planning coordinated assaults on targeted communities. The memo, signed by Kana, Director of Security DSS Ondo State Command, specifically listed Eritiakoko and Oyiakoko in Akoko Northwest Local Government Area, as well as Owo Town in Owo Local Government Area as potential targets. According to the DSS, the insurgents have already commenced surveillance of soft targets in the identified areas. The alert comes 3 years after the June 2022 massacre at St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, where over 40 worshippers were killed by suspected ISWAP members during the morning mass. That tragedy remains one of the deadliest terrorist incidents in the southwest. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has concluded a private consultation with his legal team led by former Attorney General of the Federation, AGF Kanu Agabi, a senior advocate of Nigeria. Kanu, who was brought to court by officials of the Department of State Services (DSS), met with members of his legal team in a courtroom vacated for him by Justice James Omotosho. The meeting was held in the Court 7, located on the second floor of the Federal High Court headquarters complex in Abuja, the same courtroom where his ongoing terrorism trial is being conducted. Going by the schedule of proceedings in the case issued by Justice James Omotosho on September 16, the meeting is part of the defense team's preparation for the commencement of the defendant's case on Thursday, October 23. In a recent development, Governor Charles Soludo of Anambra State has challenged local government chairmen and councillors to win their localities and get financial rewards. Governor Soludo promised the rewards to ward and local government that give APGA the highest number of votes in the November 8 governorship election. Speaking during APGA rally in Anambra East local government area, the governor promised between 1 million to 5 million naira. Former presidential media aide Bashir Ahmed has revealed only condition under which he may consider a Christian presidential ticket. Bashir, who is a former media aide to late President Muhammadu Buhari, disclosed his stance while answering questions from an ex-user. Responding, Bashir said he would support a Christian ticket if his party, the All Progressives Congress (APC), presents such candidate. You will recall that there was a public outrage in 2022 when the ruling party presented Muslim presidential ticket. Despite a nationwide outrage, especially from the Christian community, the same fake ticket sailed through as President Bola Tinubu and his vice, Kashim Shettima, won the election. The Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASUU) has called off its 2-week warning strike. The suspension comes after the union reached new understandings with the federal government on issues affecting Nigeria's public universities. The suspension was announced by ASUU President Professor Chris Piona during a briefing in Abuja today. He explained that the decision followed a series of meetings between the union and the government team led by Alhaji Yayale Ahmed, as well as interventions from the National Assembly. ASUU had embarked on the warning strike on October 13, 2025 over the government's failure to conclude the renegotiation of the 2009 FGN-ASUU agreement and other matters relating to the welfare of lecturers and the state of university education. During the industrial action, the federal government re-engaged the union, holding talks on October 16 and 18 to review the proposed agreement. Although not all demands were met, ASUU said there was progress compared to before the strike began. The union's National Executive Council met between October 21 and 22 to assess development and agree that the strike had succeeded in drawing the government attention back to negotiations. ASUU said it decided to suspend the strike to allow dialogue to continue in a peaceful atmosphere. ASUU warned, however, that the government must use the 1-month window to address all outstanding issues or face a possible resumption of the strike without further notice. You are currently listening to the World News at 6 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a short break and return with more stories and the news banter session. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still listening to World News at 6 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. The African Democratic Congress ADC has accused the ruling All Progressives Congress APC of engaging in political terrorism. These allegations comes in the wake of the burning of ADC State Secretariat in Ekiti on Monday. The party described the incident as a deliberate attempt to silence opposition voices ahead of the 2027 general elections. ADC spoke in a statement by its spokesman Bolaji Abdullahi, alleging that the early morning arson attack formed part of a wider pattern of coordinated assault on opposition figures and facilities across the country. You will recall that unknown assailants set fire to the building housing ADC's Ekiti Secretariat just hours before the party's reconfiguration and affirmation ceremony, an event meant to renew commitment and consolidate its political structures. Reacting, Abdullahi said it was a deliberate act of arson intended to sabotage and terrorize the opposition ahead of the governorship election in the state. I'm now being joined by Ikechukwu Agwago for the banter session right here on the World News at 6. Ikechukwu, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm good. Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I know I practically dragged you to sit on that seat, but it's all right. Let's talk about the issues on the World News at 6 this evening. First up, the ADC has accused the APC of political terrorism. It's words being strung together that has never been strung together before. You've seen what do I call it now? But you've just seen that different attacks happening to the ADC within a period of time. It's a series of attacks on the ADC, starting from Kaduna and Erifai to Kebbi and the former AGF Malami to Lagos with Gbadebo Revival when he was declaring for the ADC to one other southwest state I cannot recall now before going to Ekiti. And in all of this, the ADC has continued to accuse the APC of being responsible for these attacks. The APC continues to say that the ADC is a mushroom coalition and long and short, they no reach. So why these attacks?
So basically, it's politics. And one thing that is certain is politicians will always find a way to weaken their opponents. So if you must win an election, you also have to look at the stronghold of your opponents to ensure that they don't get to do well. So I'll give you an example. In the running off to the presidential election, I think it was the 1899 election in the US between the then Republican candidates in the person of what's his guy's name? I think it's Parker or something. I think it's Parker. And one thing that yes. Okay, so in the run of that particular election, I'll definitely get a recording. But what actually happened during that particular election cycle was that these politicians, the Republican candidates, actually did something very interesting. They were actually backed by, heavy deep pockets in the person of Rockefellers and Carnegie. So one thing they did was to stifle the opposition. They ensured that this guy had no voice in the media, and then they make sure that they cut him off any sort of ways to increase his popularity. And so we're actually looking at what we having today in this particular time is that the APC is definitely doing everything they need to do. If actually they actually the ones actually doing this, responsible for this, they're actually doing what they have to do to ensure that the opposition is weak.
The thing is, opposition politics is understandable, but violence.
No. So the thing is this, right? With politicians, this is why I tell people I don't trust politicians. With politicians, it can be here or there. Even the ADC that is accusing of the APC can actually create a scenario, and then still blame the APC for it. So it's all about politics. It's all about making your opponents weak. The last election cycle in 2023. You recall that the APC actually did very well in the north, but they struggled in the south. Now, in this particular election cycle towards 2027, what we are seeing is there is this massive defection of certain, political bigwigs to the APC. Now, they're actually trying to close rank. Yes, it's difficult for the APC to actually win all of those particular part of, the south, the states, but then they're definitely looking at least getting 25%, to cover up for the numbers they've made in other parts of, to actually cover up for the part of the other votes where the votes will be coming from, basically perhaps the southwest and of course other parts of the north. Again, if you look at these places that these issues are actually coming from, that these are places where strong ADC or opponent or opposition's major actors are in, right? So it's all about just making sure that there's a smooth sale of election inroad for the APC. You also recall that in one of the, I think it was what's it called? A function. I don't know if it's project commission or something, where the president actually made a statement that he was talking about the opposition, that he's not going to help them out with their misery. So
and yes, he's happy that they're having issues.
So it's one of those things that is expected to see in political time. So it's not surprising. It's very possible that it's the APC that is doing it. It's also very possible that it's the ADC that is actually doing it to gain public sympathy. Right? It's all about politics.
But why would the ADC members want to hurt themselves and burn down the party secretariat in order to gain public sympathy?
So the thing is this, right? That's why I said it's possible. Politicians can actually go any lengths to get what they want. I mean, see, if you look at politicians, they will definitely look at the value, whatever it is the incident is going to bring, right? Anything that's going to put the APC in bad light, they will definitely want to jump on it. This is not to say it's not possible that it's the APC that is doing it, but as it stands now, nobody can really tell until we start seeing things that will point us to the fact that it is the APC that actually did it. More of these things will happen. It's election cycle. You get to see more of these problems, complaints and counter complaints from different opposition camps. So it's actually not surprising that we are actually in this particular time.
All right, then, while we're talking politics, let's go to Anambra State, where Governor Soludo has offered monetary rewards to chairmen and councillors who win their local government in the forthcoming Anambra elections. Also, on the newspaper review this morning on sister station Voice of the People TV, there was a particular news item on the Tribune newspapers that the Lagos APC is offering 20 million naira reward to the local government area with the highest turnout of voters on election day. And one would wonder, why do we have this, what seems to be a monetary system of government, right? Is it right, in your estimation, for the governor to say, oh, if you win your local government, if you win your wards, I'll give you money? I mean, if you're able to get people to vote, this is what he says. He said, he says, if you will get, for each one that is won in the state, in the House of Assembly election, you get 500,000 naira. The prize winner, anyone who wins their ward, will get 1 million. Anyone who comes first in Anambra East local government will get a prize of 5 million. 3 million for the one that will come second, 2 million for the one that will come third. For Anambra as a whole, out of the 21 local government, which local government will win is a challenge. So local government that will win out of the 21 local government will get a cash award of 10 million naira. Is this money coming from his own personal pocket, or is it the Anambra taxpayers' money that he wants to use to settle people that are working for his own party? Or is it APGA's money he wants to use to settle the people? And this is happening in Anambra, is also happening in the Lagos APC as well. Is this actually right? Yes, we understand there will be competition, but to attach a monetary reward for it, this is the governor. If the opposition were doing this, wouldn't he counter them?
Well, so the thing is, right, the first question you ask is this right? Right? In a sense, society, you might want to argue if it is right, but then where there's no law, there's no offense, right? There's no one who's going to go after them to actually say what you're actually doing is right or is wrong. Is it actually wrong in our law? These are the questions you should be asking. So now let's look at what exactly they are doing and what it means. You should understand that politics is local. And because it's local, they understand that it's the last ebb of politics is actually at the ward level. So, right, it is the votes you get at the ward level. You calculate everything to become, you move then straight to the council level. From the council, then you move to the local government. Then from local government to the state. So it means that they're actually looking at actually getting the result right there at the grassroots. And grassroots politics is grassroots, right? If you have a very strong grassroots base, you most likely win an election. So that's exactly what they're actually doing. And this is actually a state where the APC actually really struggled in the last election cycle. Like I said, you get to see all of these things in this state where the APC actually lost. APC lost Lagos in last election cycle. In fact, there are people who actually said that the result that was even declared is even, the margin is quite wider than what we actually saw, right? But that's not even the issue for now. But I'm actually just putting it to you to understand that the APC at this point will definitely do everything to actually come back. And if they must come back, they must ensure that they have a very strong foundation,
but
which is definitely...
Soludo is APGA. If we're saying, oh, the ruling party is doing things wrong, this is another opposition party also following the same way. Also, we're looking at incentivization. So we've seen it over and over again. Sorry, Ikechukwu. In Lagos, during the local government election, we saw where they were sharing food at the polling unit. They share money at the polling unit and say, okay, let me see you vote for my party and then I'll give you this money. If you're telling the local government chairman, oh, I'll give you 10 million if you win, if you're able to get a lot of people to vote for the party, would this not actually now lead to people giving people incentives to vote for the party?
I've told you before that where there's no law, there's no offense, right? If there's no law that is prohibiting them from doing it, then it's actually not a crime. That's what it is. But then the issue of Anambra, you just mentioned Soludo being an APGA. I mean, Soludo has always openly shown that he's working for the APC at the presidential level.
Working for, or because
support.
He supports the
president.
Yes, because the president is his friend.
No, he actually shown support for the APC that in this 2027 election he's backing a southern candidate, and of course it is the APC. He's shown it openly that is who he's definitely going to cast his vote for, right? And if the governor of the state is actually saying, you know what, for presidential election, I'm backing you. But of course, he's definitely the governor of Anambra State, and he wants to remain the governor, and he's definitely going to do everything to remain the governor. One of the things that governors in this country will always want to do is to be on the good side of the government at the center, because they know that with that you have a very good chance, because we're running a unitary system. We don't run a country where the governors have this exclusive power to actually control their state security. So it means that if you actually need the president to actually you need the president a lot to actually carry out certain things in your state, because of the overwhelming power.
You have to pander.
At some point you have to actually pander. I mean, and most people who actually do these things are people who have about 50% popularity, who are actually 50% popular in their state or even less. They need the government at the center to really cement their foothold in power. But those who are very overwhelmingly popular in their state really do not need the government in the center. And this exactly is one of the reasons why governors like Governor Soludo, we definitely want to do these things. And of course, you also remember that in last election, the APC actually lost overwhelmingly. It was a disaster, right then, not just in the south, in Anambra, right? So, and of course, the major opposition from the south is Peter Obi, is from Anambra State. And I mean, if the government the government in the center is actually looking at getting at least 25% in Anambra State, then who is the best person to actually make that happen? It's definitely going to be the governor of the state, because he's the one who's got the financial muscle, and of course the people at the grassroots to actually pull that off.
How do you think the people of Anambra State will feel when they know that their governor is sharing money to get people to vote for him?
So a couple of years ago, I really cannot remember the election cycle. The women of Ebenebe, you remember that particular incident where they were actually being given, I think, about cash of about 10,000 naira, to vote on election day. These women actually openly rejected, to take that money. It's your choice if you want to take it or not. But the big question is, it's not even about whether you're being given incentivized or not. It's about, ensuring that your vote counts at the end of the day, because there's been a lot of questions of people actually saying this is actually who they actually vote for, or the result of the vote is not even the same result as being declared. If the people, it's not about the people now saying that it's not about people getting worried, rather about the way the governor is actually playing the politics. It's about the people getting worried about whether the election will actually count, and how should they ensure, or how would they actually move en masse to ensure that happens. Is by also pushing for the electoral reform to ensure that particular election or the vote that they cast reflects in real time. And this is actually why the idea of the IRF was actually beautiful until 2023. I mean, in 2023, until after the election, where we actually discovered that it was a jamboree. It didn't actually happen. It didn't actually, for some reasons, it didn't actually. All the promises actually went under the rug. So if that can actually happen, whatever the governors they can do, it won't change the result at the end of the day, because now that once you vote in real time, we see the results counting, and then who is definitely going to win. But if that doesn't happen, the governors will always overwhelmingly still have this power, because they can at any point in time concord vote increase numbers of people, buy PVC and do whatever it is they want to do, and then still ensure that whoever it is they want to favor, if the governor is interested in actually ensuring that the president actually gets certain number of votes in his state, he's definitely going to make that happen. And that's exactly where the problem is. Whether you take the money or not, that is one of the very big problem we will definitely be having in our hands.
It's just a crazy situation, no matter how you look at it, for a governor to say, "Oh, I'm going to pay you." We talked on your TV this morning. We talked about the Abia State members of the House of Assembly who wanted to share money that was given to them by Governor Alex Oti, and it generated into somebody breaking a beer bottle on another person's head. So you can see what money is costing.
Well, money will definitely be money is the second number when it comes to politics, right? You need two number factor to, like they call two factor authentication. It's actually about numbers. So if you actually have those two numbers, right, you definitely will win an election anywhere in the world. Right, it's all about the money and the number of people you can actually pull. The former president, the late PMB, President Muhammadu Buhari, actually have this 12 million votes tied around him. That particular aura was actually his biggest winning streak until he actually merged with the other political parties to get about 15 million votes that end him the election. So he's got that money. He doesn't have the big deep pocket. People with the deep pocket merged with him and he actually won. So you have to have one of those things. And if you have deep pockets, your chance of winning an election is quite huge, because you definitely attract those who's got the numbers in terms of popularity and people to actually help you win.
That shows just how willing many Nigerians are to sell their vote and then complain about bad governance. Talking about bad governance and some of its attendant effects, let's talk about the insecurity. Unfortunately, bandit killed 2 people in the Plateau community while we were here talking about insecurity last night, and it's very crazy to me because this has come home. I've experienced this insecurity and it has touched me in a way that I am not happy about. These things that we talk about every day. We don't have so much time, but the DSS is raising an alarm over ISWAP's plan to attack Ondo, Kogi communities. This is insecurity making its way into the southwest, slowly but surely. We can see how about 7 different local governments in Kwara State are said to be controlled by these terrorists. If the DSS is coming and telling Nigerians that, oh, we have intelligence that they want to attack, should they be telling us that? Right? Someone who is privy to this security intelligence came out to say, oh, it's just routine intelligence, information that they give us. But wouldn't this put the people on edge? Especially when you recall that in June 2022, there was a terribly tragic, brazen, evil massacre that occurred in Owo, Ondo town. And now you're telling the people again that, oh, these terrorists are planning to come and attack you. Hello? What do you want them to do? They should start running away, or what? Is this so that people can preserve themselves, or to put fear in the minds of the people?
Well, it's not really about putting fear in the minds of the people. It's about ensuring that the people are actually aware that there's actually danger, why they also do their underground work. Again, a lot of persons will say, okay, there's this school of thought that you don't have to expose it because some of these criminals are actually lurking around. They will definitely get the information and then change strategy. But then the truth is, I want to believe that before releasing this sort of information, they are already closing in on these criminals, right? That's exactly why they actually do this. But my biggest problem with this insecurity, because it seems like an endless circle now in Nigeria. We keep talking about insecurity here and there, and then there seems to be no sort of improvement as regards keeping the people safe. So a couple of years ago, I was in a conversation with a lady. She's actually from Borno. So I was thinking that why can't you guys just end this insecurity? You guys definitely these guys and all of that. You understand their language. What exactly is the problem in the north? We in the south really do not understand. And she told me clearly that in Borno alone there are about more than 10 different languages, that the way we actually see things here is not the way it happens there. And then this now give credence to the fact that some persons who are security experts so many times have actually said that, the best way to actually deal with this security issue is to actually empower people within their state. Security is local. See, there's something about the local man in his own community. If a stranger walks in, they definitely know and identify them, right? Couple of times people have actually complained that every single time, I'm talking about the case of the herdsmen now a little bit, that every single time they actually try to actually defend themselves, get weapons to actually ward off this sort of people, the government come and then take away this weapon. So
Disarm them.
Yes, disarm them. So the truth is, I think the best way to actually ensure this goes away forever, because this is exactly where we're actually looking at, right? We want it to go away forever. Is for the government to actually step up and then, a massive collaboration with the people, right? Give them empower the people with weapons. Ensure that these people actually go through the right channel, and then work with them closely, and then we can actually push this thing off. If countries like Niger can push the biggest of criminals outside, why can't Nigeria do same, right? It's so sad that we're having this conversation, but the truth is, the DSS and security operative, as far as I'm concerned, they're actually not doing enough, because every single time we come back here to talk about these things, we talk about how massacre happened, or the government releasing the circular that people are about to attack. What happens if they actually stop this particular attack, and then somewhere else, another set of persons, or in another state, these people actually go ahead to actually carry out this attack? There's been massive kidnappings across the country. All of these things needs to actually stop, and the only way they can actually stop it is to treat security as a local issue, the same way you treat election from the world level.
You would think that they would actually do that, especially with all the campaign promises they give Nigerians. But we have to go. Our time is fast spent. Thank you so much. Thank you so dearly for joining me on the World News at 6 this evening. You have been listening to the World News at 6 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard the bandits have killed 2 in an attack on the Plateau community. DSS raises alarm over ISWAP's plan to attack Ondo and Kogi communities. Nnamdi Kanu holds private consultation with legal team ahead of October 23 defense, and Governor Soludo offers monetary rewards to chairmen, councillors who win local government in forthcoming Anambra elections. And that is a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Chioma Innocent. Good evening and thank you for listening.